No, we have really good availability for the game. It's Laura Wienroither is still out and is going to be out for a couple of more weeks. But apart from that, really good selection availability.
Oh, that's good to hear. I guess now that you've had a few days to think about or reflect over that game against Bayern Munich, was there any particular lessons learned, or have you reflected on, I guess, the team performance, or anything additional you want to add?
No, not really. I think it's the same thing as I said after the game. I think our first half is in many parts a quite decent game of football from our side. We obviously really disappointed with how we act the last 15-20 minutes in the game, and I think the last 2 goals we concede should not happen, shouldn't look like that, and that of course leaves us with a bitter feeling. But that's a tough learning point for us for us to take. But we need to do that in order to get to where we want to be, and then we need to look forward for the game tomorrow.
You're now coming into the 4th game of the season so far in WSL. In some parts of the league, what's your feeling around the season so far in terms of the team performance and also where you stand in the table, where the club's heading going forward?
I mean, we obviously played quite a lot of competitive games compared to other clubs so far in the season, and it feels like we've been together for a long time here now. It's almost we're going to be together for 3 months here since we started pre-season, given that they took away this international break in September. I think, as I said before, we know we're in every competition we are at. It's going to be high competition, it's going to be high challenges, and if we want to be successful, we need to go game by game and having the right focus for those games, and we need to put learnings into place quickly, and we need to develop as a team, and that's exactly what we need to do.
Looking ahead to Chelsea, is this game coming up with Chelsea then a must-win game?
Every game that is ahead of us is a must-win game. That needs to be the mentality that we have. Nothing else should please us. We should always go out to try and win football matches.
And I guess with just some of the performances we've had this season against Leicester City and also an Everton goalless draw at the Emirates, are you in some parts concerned about the team? Is there a lack of confidence or something that's happening away from the pitch that's probably reflecting on those performances?
I think you can look at things from different perspectives, of course. The main objective for us in this pre-season at the start of the season was to qualify for the Champions League group stage. We've done that. We want to be competing all the way in the league, and there is no way you can tell me that the start to the league doesn't allow us to do that, and so we're in a position to do that. And yes, we're disappointed with the start to the group stage in the Champions League. And yes, our ambition is to go through and go to the quarterfinal stage. But there's 5 games left in that group stage. And we need to put our focus to what we have in front of us. And we still have all the possibilities open to us. But as I said, we need to learn, we need to progress. And of course, we need to perform every single time we play.
And now just looking ahead to Chelsea and focusing on Chelsea as a side, I guess they're going through changes, a new era with Sonia Bonpasta, but it looks like she's settled quite well with the team, still trying to make her mark and I guess execute her way of play within the squad. But what learnings have you taken from her since she's arrived into the WSL, and what can you expect from them?
Yeah, obviously they haven't played so many games. It's not been a lot of competitive games to see them play so far this season. But the games that they have played, you can see that she's set a clear trademark on how they play in both in and out of possession. And I think they look like a really good football team. So it's going to be a match between 2 really good football teams, and we look forward to that challenge. Thank you.
Come to Rob.
Yeah, good to see you. Has there been an edge to training in the last couple of days after midweek? Maybe a good edge?
Yeah, you sort of saying we only have had one training, and that was today, but it's been really good. The players are really focused. We're really determined to put absolutely everything we have onto the pitch tomorrow at the Emirates.
About a year or so ago, you went into that game away against United without a point on the board in the WSL and going out of the qualifying stage of the Champions League. You got a big performance, which then set up a 10-match winning streak. What you maybe learned from that time, are you leaning on that now? Does it feel similar, different? How do you see it?
I know I have a really good group of players and staff. They're resilient. They bounce back from performances that we're not happy about. We learn, we progress as a team, and I think what was important that time and what will be important now is to think about the future. Think about the performance that we have ahead of us. We know what we need to do, and that's always a good starting point. Now it's up to us to do it.
And taking into account your record against the bigger sides, in a way, do you and the team actually feel more confident going into a game like this than maybe a different kind of matchup?
Like I said before, every game is we should go in with a mentality that we must win the game. And I said that after the Everton game, I was not happy with the energy or the dedication that we played the first half with. I think we finished the game like we should, but if we had started and having that urgency before, I'm very confident that we would have found the result we wanted in that game as well. So for me, it's not just single out between and trying to make ranking between different opponents and how we play. We need to be at our best every time we have the privilege to represent this fantastic football club, and that's what we need to show tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Megan.
Hi, Jonas. Hope you're well. I just wanted to kick off really by sort of airing that some would say there's a bit of pressure on Arsenal at the moment, and whether there's anything that you've got to say to some of those critics out there that might be sort of criticising performances as of late.
Yeah, it's hard for me to sort of say to critics because I don't necessarily know what they are criticizing, but, and I said before, I think the most pressure comes from ourselves. If I talk about me personally, I set incredibly high standards on myself, and I think I'm going to be by far the fiercest critic of my performances and the team performances. And pressure is not only a privilege. I believe it's a necessity if you're going to find high performance in football. And if you want to be competing in all 4 competitions, you need to be able to handle and deal with pressure and making sure that pressure gets the best version out of you. So I don't mind that. That's part of the game and part of the privilege in representing this football club.
Of course. And what's the sentiment like in the team at the moment following the loss? What's the feeling going into tomorrow's game?
Dedicated, focused, thinking everything about what we're going to do here for the game tomorrow. It's a very, very dedicated and focused playing group that's going to put all the energy on the pitch tomorrow.
Of course, and you mentioned already, wanting to put on a good show at the Emirates tomorrow. That must be a nice feeling to be going out in a bit of a derby clash at home with thousands of fans. How much of an influence will that have on the game, do you think?
I mean, especially with our fans, and I mean that's really one of the most hurting things is to see us play like we did the last 15 minutes in Munich away, and we have such a good away allocation, and they're traveling and they're putting all their time and commitment into supporting us. Like, we want them to be proud, we want them to be happy. That's such a big part of the motivation that we have going into have a really strong performance tomorrow as well, is to make sure that every single fan turning up there is enjoying, is feeling proud over us as a team, and we want to put that thing right. So yes, we really look forward to get another opportunity to do that together with our fans.
Amazing, thanks. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan. Begonia.
Okay, hello. I would like to, I am Begonia from Mundo Deportivo in Barcelona.
understood.
Yeah.
I hope. That Mariona is an important player for us.
How she settled in with us.
Yeah, that part I didn't understand. It's really good to have you here, Dan. No, she's been a fantastic addition for us, not only as a player but also as a person. I really enjoy working with her. She gives us a lot of things, not only from a player perspective but also from a culture perspective. Her winning mentality is one of the best that I've ever had the privilege to work with. Yeah, I'm really happy that we've got her here.
Great.
Alright. También le quería preguntar, ha habido como un poco de polémica en España porque el Manchester City y el Chelsea no dejan hacer selfies a las jugadoras después de los partidos. Si el Arsenal se lo plantea, ¿qué le parece esta medida?
It's a question about fan interactions at games and how other clubs in the WSL have moved away from that. Whether we have a position and what you make of clubs, trying to prevent those kind of selfies and autographs after the games.
And like we said before, that we value our connection with our supporters so much, and that they are so important for the journey and for the development of this team. Then of course there are always a balance between what we need to do in order to provide our players the safety and security that they need, and obviously that demand increases with that amount of interest increases as well, and we need to find a balance between these two interests. But as a club, we're monitoring the situation, and if and when we decide to do anything differently, then we're going to communicate that. But at the moment, we're happy to act the way we do.
Thanks. Great. We'll come to call now. Tim, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Hi, Jonas. I know you said obviously Chelsea haven't played that many games so far this season, and they kind of made some tweaks. You talked on Wednesday night about the crossing, and I certainly saw Laura and James drifting out to the right and putting lots of good crosses in. But I wonder what specifically you think has changed for them under Sonia Bonpasta. And when Emma Hayes was at Chelsea, there were lots of little tactical tweaks that both of you were kind of making in these games, and whether you expect something like that from a Sonia Bonpasta or Chelsea, or whether you expect them to be much as you've seen them so far.
Like I said, I think the sample size is really small to make those assumptions of if they have done any changes. But I think if you just look very broadly from a playing style perspective, they've been a little bit happier in the games I've seen so far to remain compact and not going up and press aggressively so much as Chelsea did last season, and also been maybe a little bit less direct in their attacking play, and keeping the ball a little bit more.
And can I just ask about Lina Hurtig as well? I presume she's not in the squad tomorrow, and whether there's a timeline on her availability, whether we're likely to see her this side of the international break.
Yeah, she's very close to be able to make a squad, and I haven't made my final decision about the squad yet. But if she doesn't make this squad, then I think she has a very good possibility to make the squad next Wednesday against Valerenga.
Thanks, Jonas. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. We'll just take the last one from Emily, please.
Hi, Jonas. I hope you're well. Just on the game against Chelsea, do you feel any way disadvantaged because they've had an extra day's rest from the European games and because they didn't have a game last weekend?
I think I made my point very clear in what I think about the scheduling, but I'm not going to waste not any more words or any emotion on that now, because we need to put 100% focus on our performance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. We'll leave it there.